I'm back in Houston because today I'm going to be honored as one of the outstanding graduates of the Houston Independent School District by the superintendent at the State of the Schools address. And so, of course, graduate of... thank you very much. Clinton Park Elementary School, Pleasantville Elementary School, Vanguard Program, William Howland Middle School, and Jack Yates High School, School of Communications. I'm actually broadcasting again from Jack Yates, so certainly glad to be back here, and so look forward to that honor. All right, Tom, lots of drama in D.C. Woo, the clown show continues. Ringling Brothers, they shut down their run, and Trump team replaces them. Mike Flynn, of course, is the a former national security advisor. He's out. Now the New York Times is reporting that numerous higher-ups of the Trump administration had lots of conversation back and forth with Russian intelligence. Congressman Bennie Thompson of Mississippi. Do we have Congressman Thompson there, Congressman?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
All right, doing great, Congressman Bennie Thompson. Got to ask you, sir, this is a big mess. You're the ranking Democrat on the House Homeland Security Committee. What's up with the Trump administration playing footsie with Russia?
Well, you're exactly right, Tom and Roland. The answer is, why in the world would we play footsie with an enemy? But if you got a president who says he has more, quote, sense than anybody in the intelligence community, you'll see why we're in a problem. So our challenge right now is to figure out, how did Flynn get the authority to call Russia, who gave it to him, what was said, and who did he report back to? That's why Elijah Cummings, John Conyers, Nancy Pelosi, and a bunch of us are saying we need an independent investigation to get to the bottom of this, because the people have a right to know. And so the White House, in its infinite wisdom, has decided, oh, well, it's an issue of trust. No, it's not. It's an issue of whether you have basically violated the law. And in our estimation, the only way we can get to the bottom of it is to have an independent investigation.
Tom, I love this one here. Speaker Paul, oh my God, Tom, this is unbelievable. Speaker Paul Ryan yesterday said this here: there should be no rush to judgment. We should wait for all the facts to come in, but I don't support an investigation. Congressman Thompson, how in the hell do you get all the facts until you have an investigation?
Well, in this institution, if you don't have an investigation, you'll never get to the facts. So this is a classic case of stonewalling, scapegoating, and trying to avoid the issue. Clearly, Flynn lied to the public, but the thing we have to also look is, why did Trump fire the lady in the Justice Department who had already put him on notice that there were some issues associated with Flynn? Now, the one thing that your audience might not know is that somewhere there's a transcript of all these calls. Because in our intelligence community, you know, there are certain things we capture. Right. And when you are talking to the enemy, we capture those calls.
Hey,
so
Ben,
wait a minute. How dumb can you be to be a retired three-star general and a national security advisor, and you know they tape the calls, but you still talking?
Well, that's the arrogance of power when you work for a person that says, I have more intelligence than anybody in the intelligence community. So that's the power of arrogance.
The power.
But doesn't it also, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago during that interview with Bill O'Reilly, where the president was saying, you think our country's so innocent, and talking about the killers that we have in this country and defending the Russians. So, I mean, none of this, I mean, it's all a part of the pattern and his love affair with Putin and the Russians.
Well, if your national security advisor is at a party sitting next to Putin, I'd have real concern about exactly who this guy is, unless he's my guy to build and foster this relationship. I can tell you, Tom, I can tell you, Roland, that we have had information that it was not just the hacking of the Democratic National Committee and a lot of other things. The Russians played fast and loose with our whole electoral system. So this is part and parcel of a broader conspiracy that demands an independent investigation.
But your Secretary of State got one of the highest awards from of honor from the Russians.
Well, let me tell you, it's all part of their scheme. They hired bloggers all over the world. They hired people to go out and create mischief around. And clearly, it wasn't just Manafort and Flynn communicating with the Russians. There's information that we believe that there were other people also communicating with Russian intelligence, which, as you know, is a violation of the law.
Congressman
Dan Rather
Thompson
said this.
challenges.
Dan Rather said this could be as big as Watergate.
And
Well,
that's what
that's
I
why
want to
we
know.
gotta get-
Benny, Roland, do we have enough to impeach or not? Or are we
Well,
close?
Let's go where the facts lead us. But see,
Okay.
the Republicans are holding back on getting to the facts. And so it's more than a matter of trust. If you fired this man because you didn't trust him, then there was something that you found out or you trying to cover up that the public has a right to know. And that's why this independent investigation
But that's the
is
key.
absolutely important.
That's the key, Congressman. What do they think the public has the right to know? They don't think the public has the right to know anything, and they got this. And the questions
Well,
that I'm sorry.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is some of us are committed to getting to the bottom of it. Now, it's a long, hard process. Republicans are in charge of the House. They're in charge of the Senate. They're in charge of the White House. But in a democracy, this is our last best hope, is to get the people involved to a point that they demand that we get to the bottom of this.
And ask
Well,
the
this
question,
sounds
what
like
did you
a-
know and when do you know it?
This sounds like a
we
James
just have
Bond
to
film
continue
from
to press the
Russia.
case.
It is a James
This sounds
Bond
like the James
film.
Bond film from Russia with Love. Oh, my goodness. Congressman Bennie Thompson, keep putting the pressure on. We'll hope to see what happens next. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Utterly confusing, Tom. Utterly confusing.
All right, Roland. Congratulations, too, on your award today.
I appreciate it, sir.
Coming next.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
25 past the hour.
All right, there in TV One studio, I want to go to Rashad Robertson. I want to pull you in here, Rashad, to talk about to continue this for a couple of more minutes. Again, what amazes me, we saw numerous investigations on Hillary Clinton's emails. We have evidence, documented evidence, of discussions with Russia, talking about the sanctions, and Republicans are saying, we're good, we're good.
Yep. So really, you know, the only thing that Paul Manafort and Flynn have in common is Russia and Donald Trump. And so these are two totally different folks from different worlds. And so we've got to actually realize that there's a plot happening against our country to steal our values and to steal our way of life, that clearly the Russians have something on Donald Trump. We've heard the rumors of the dossier. But the fact that the Republicans in the Senate and in the Congress won't do anything speaks to a larger plot and sort of the deal that has been created, that they will let Donald Trump sell our values, sell our democracy, sell our economy off, as long as he can make money and put his name on things, and they can take away our freedoms in the process, that they can move legislation, the Republicans in Congress can take away our freedoms, that they can pass legislation that Donald Trump will sign. And so as long as that deal remains, everyone's going to stay together on this. The question will be is, as we head into February recess next week, and people start standing up. Color of Change tonight is having a call with our members that I urge people to come on. Text the word FIGHT to 225568, the word FIGHT to 225568, and join us on the call where we'll be doing talking points and strategy and directing people into February recess. This next week, we have to stand up and we have to make real demands on our members of Congress and our members of the Senate. Real demands. We're asking people to show up and read Coretta Scott King's letter. We're asking them to demand things like an investigation, and that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Liz, I'm still trying to understand. The Republicans were so quick to hold hearings on Benghazi. If you literally have the head of the NSA, intelligence saying we have transcripts. Donald Trump tells us he had no business dealings in Russia. His son said they had millions flowing in from Russia. And you now have the New York Times report. Why are Republicans, what are they afraid of?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of misinformation. The White House is in chaos. I'm not quite sure that the members of Congress, and whether it's Ryan or McConnell, that they actually know everything that the White House knows. But I want to push back on this conspiracy theory that Republicans are arming up with Russia to take over, Americans' resources, or the Republicans are looking to take Americans' rights. That's not rooted in fact or evidence.
Well, how do we know?
But there is a concern.
They can prove it. They can prove it by investigation.
There is a concern
until they prove it.
I understand. And we should support a bipartisan investigation into the leaks and what was discussed and what Russia is doing with American information, and especially when it comes to our president. But I want to make sure that we don't have that narrative that it's us, it's Republicans against black people, or Republicans against America. It's Americans against
Greg
many
Carr,
of our enemies.
Yes, sir.
Well, Greg Carr, it is abundantly clear you have Russians who are aligned with the Trump administration.
Of course.
And the Trump administration does not want the full story told to the American people.
No, that's very true. And Russia is the stress test. So I agree with Liz in that respect. Russia's the stress test. The real thing, as Rashani said, is really American democracy. Congressman Thompson, if you looked at the press conference yesterday where the ranking members spoke, a lot of this stuff is classified. And, and parenthetically, it's also important to understand that the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI are leaking as well. That should probably disturb us too, but we got to get to that a little bit down the road. But to the point, these Republicans, and you saw what happened at Jason Chaffetz's town hall in his home state of Utah. People are attacking them at home. During the recess, they're going to be attacked at home. But this is bigger than GOP and Dems. This is about American democracy. Are they willing to threaten American democracy?
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.